So in this tutorial, I'm actually going to use my voice because it seemed as though some people wanted that. But if I should hear my voice in the lab, so help me God, I will destroy you. I do not want to be able to hear myself. I know what I sound like, and it's not good. So that being said, let's start this. So this is for compositing. This will be the assignment number 4. So first thing I'm going to do is actually just grab all the photos and just bring them into Photoshop. So I'm just going to File, Open, and I'm going to find the pictures that I'm going to composite. I'm just going to do something really simple and silly because that's what's fun. So we'll grab that one, and I will grab this one. So I'm just doing Control and clicking, and I'm going to grab this one and open. So these are the 3 images I'm going to composite. Okay. I'm going to use this one as my background, and I'm just going to put the elephant right over top of these people. Actually, for that matter, I'm just going to go ahead and fix that. So I'm just going to double click to adjust this. I'll make a duplicate of it, and we'll just call this one edited. Right, so I just double click on that, edited, and I'm just going to see if I could perchance get rid of these girls. They don't please me at all. So what we will do is I will use the patch tool, and I'm just going to manually do this and see how well this works. This may or actually may not work well, but we will find out momentarily. So I'm just going to try and draw around them as best as possible. I'm actually quite impressed with myself. Doing a pretty good job of cutting them out. Okay. I'm not a big fan of the freehand lasso, but it's working out okay. Obviously, when you do this, try to cut it as close as possible. Okay. And I'm going to make sure it says content aware, and we are going to drag this over and replace it with this area over here to try and make it match. Boom. And then I'll just hit Control D or Command D if you're on a Mac, and that's not too bad actually. A little bit of shadow here, which I'm not happy about, so I'm just going to go ahead and use the healing brush tool, and I'm going to hit alternate over here to source, and then I'm going to click and drag over here. Oops. Let's try that again. Source, and I'm just going to kind of go through, source it farther away because it's kind of. I'm just kind of sourcing different areas to try and get this to be replaced. Source the grass here. I'm doing a horrible job. Alright. Imagine I did a good job on that. It might be hard to imagine, but I'm sure you can figure it out. Okay, so there's obviously some other blah, but I don't think anyone's going to notice for now. So first thing I'm going to do is actually get this elephant over there. So not this one, this one. I'm just going to hold alternate and use the scroll wheel. You can also do Control plus minus. So this is Control plus minus, or if you hit Z, you can click and drag for scrubby zoom, as long as you have scrubby zoom on up here. And I am basically going to grab this elefante and put him into the other, I'm just going to double click this to unlock it, and put him in the other area. So I'm just going to use the magnetic lasso tool. So if you just hold, find the magnetic lasso tool, he has pretty definitive edges, so this should work pretty well. I could also use the quick selection tool, but I figured we'll just do this one. So let's go ahead and do it. So I'm just going to click once, and I'm just dragging. I'm not clicking at all. You can probably hear me not clicking. So I'm just dragging up and blah 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 blah. Da da da. Okay. All right. So you can see it's not doing that great a job up here. If it goes off like this, and you have ones you don't want, if you just hit backspace or delete that's on the inside, I'm just going to manually start clicking in here to try and get it to go where I want. So I might need to actually fix this a little bit afterwards, which is good because that'll let me show you some other stuff. So I'm just going to go like this. You can see right here, this color is not much different, so it's having a hard time trying to find that edge. So I'm just going to roll with it for now, and then we'll just clean it up manually with the quick selection. Okay. Just going to manually click that. So you can see it's having difficulty in this area again. All right. And I'm going to go around. Good. Alright. Okay. just using backspace every now and then. I have to click now and then just to remind it that we're doing stuff here. Talking too much. You'll see that it'll turn to that little circle icon. That will end it, or if you just double click, if that's not there, it'll end it that way too. It'll close the selection. So I'm just going to click there, and now this is my selection. Now the problem with this is that you can see some areas, such as in here, it's not perfect. It doesn't have the actual thing that it missed it, just because the colors were so close. So it didn't do that great of a job. What I can do is, and you can see up here I got a little something extra. So I could do a couple different things about trying to get rid of that. I could try to just, grab maybe just the polygonal lasso tool or just the lasso tool. And if I hold alternate, it'll only take away. So while I hold alternate, I could kind of click and drag, and I'm just drawing a line. And I just gotta make sure I come back around to it, such as that. Hopefully the computer will not lag. Good, and it'll take away. So for instance, I could do it if I wanted to make a hole, go like that, and it'll put a hole. So like now if I were to, you will notice that it cut out that. So that's obviously not something I wanted to do. So we're gonna undo that, hopefully soon. Okay. I'm just gonna go ahead. So if I want to add that selection, if I hold shift, you'll see that my symbol turns into a plus. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add that back in. I just drew a line around it. Okay. But the other way to do things is actually use what's called this mode over here, which basically it's the quick mask mode. So if you just click on that, you're gonna notice everything turns red. Now what's red is actually a representation of what's not selected. Okay. And it's actually referred to as ruby lith. It's a thing from screen printing. I'll probably discuss it in class. But now what you can do is that if I use my brush tool, you'll notice that this, your foreground, which mine already was black and white, but this will turn black and white. And if I hit B for the brush tool, or you go over here and make sure you have the brush tool, whenever I draw with black, it will add, it'll take away the selection. So now watch, if I click and turn this back off, that is now not part of the selection. Okay, so this can actually be quite useful. And then if I were to use the eraser, I can erase back out that section. Okay, or I could just paint white and it'll be the same thing. And I'm actually going to go ahead and just manually go through and with my own. And I can see right here too, I don't know if you can tell, but like there's a little bit, computer's chugging. This is a laptop, so they don't have a computer at the school. All right. And you can see there's a little bit more there that I could add. So I'm just gonna kind of paint the selection I want. All right. And I'm just gonna kind of go through, and you can see like it's a little ratty right there. So I'm gonna kind of, I'm use the eraser here. Oops, sorry. I'm gonna use the brush here. And I'm just gonna brush some of that out, just to kind of clean it up a little bit. Not exactly sure what that's supposed to look like, but we're gonna roll with it. All right. So I'm just kind of brushing in some areas to kind of clean it up. So there's a little more in here than I was supposed to have. Oops. Use the eraser right here because I think there's supposed to be a little more elephant leg there. I'm not sure, but and I would go through and do a better job, but this part's bothering me too, actually. So I'm gonna do brush again to brush out and take some of this off. Okay, but I can just manually make my selections this way, and I've turned it back to eraser. I'm just hitting E for eraser and B for brush, but I can so B for brush, and I'm gonna take a little bit of this out. I'm just kind of cleaning up the edges. But I could do a much better job, obviously, and be a little more particular. I'm just not right now. But once I'm happy with that, I can actually go ahead and I'll just click this off. And now this is the selection, okay? So all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to, I'm just hitting spacebar to use the hand tool to pan around. I'm just going to go ahead and hit Command C or Control C, depending, but that just means copy. So I'm just going to Control C to copy, and I'm going to go to my background image, which is here, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Or if you double click on the zoom tool, it'll make it 100%, which doesn't really help all that much. I'm going to click up here and just do fit screen, and I'm going to hit Command V, and there's my elefante. Okay. Now I just want to use the move tool. So if I just hit V, or if you click up here on the move tool, I'm just going to click and I'm going to put my elephant right there. Okay. Just where the other spot was to hopefully kind of divert attention from it. Obviously it's going to need some work, but I'm just working on cropping and putting all the pieces in together now. Okay. So I wanted to resize this because this elephant's probably a little bit small. Generally speaking, with raster images, you don't want to blow them up. It's more okay to make them smaller than what they originally were. In this case, I'm just going to do it anyway. So I'm just going to hit Control T, okay, which basically means it's the hotkey for freeze transforms. If you just go to Edit, you can go free transform. That's the manual way to do it. And I'm just going to hold Shift. What Shift will do while I click and drag is it keeps it, no matter which way I move this, proportionate. Okay? And if I don't have Shift, I can squash and stretch it. So I'm going to hold Shift, and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, more elephant-like. And then when I'm happy with it, I'll just hit Enter. And there's my elephant. Okay, there's the elephant. So now what I'm going to do is grab, I don't even need this anymore, so I'm not going to get rid of that. I'm going to grab my kid here. Okay, so again, this one could be done any number of ways. I'm going to try and do things a couple different ways just to, help with things. I'm actually just going to go ahead and use the quick selection tool. You could also use the magic wand tool, but you'll notice that some of these colors are a little bit similar. So magic wand works based on color information as opposed to the quick selection, which works based off of edges. So I feel like the edges are a little more definitive than that. So I'm just going to kind of click and drag in this area, and I'm just going to try and cut her out. Let's say a little much. I'll just go back through and fix it afterwards, but try to grab her to the best of our abilities, or my abilities anyway. Maybe your abilities would be better. And I'm going to get all of that. Okay. So I got a whole bunch here. Okay. So I don't have much time, so I'm just going to try and make it so I can cut her out. So to get the rest of this out, if I just hold alternate, you'll notice that the plus symbol on this thing will turn to a minus, and that will subtract. Okay, so that's holding alternate or control, I think. I forget what it is on a Mac. It says, option, that's what it is. So I'm going to hold alternate and kind of click and remove obvious areas here. You can see it didn't do that great a job there, and some of it's not going to do as good a job. So, yada, 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 I'm not super happy with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and use the quick mask mode here again. And again, I'll show that red ruby lith. So I'm just going to hit B for the brush tool, and I'm going to try to clean up these edges as best as possible. I'm going to do this extremely fast, so this isn't going to look super great. All right. All right. I'll use this one. Okay. And okay. Okay, so I'm using the right now. I'm using the brush tool. So I'm using erase now to try and get. I'm using my bracket keys to make this bigger and smaller. The brush tool. Okay. I have a brush because I got a little more than what I should have. All right, and we will brush out this. So again, just using these bracket keys. All right, and a little. I don't know if that. I don't think that's supposed to be there. We're gonna get rid of that too. Okay. So you're gonna notice that hair is always a big pain, regardless. I'm trying to do this as fast as possible. When you go to do it, though, do a nicer job. There's no reason for you to do a crappy job. I'm just trying to keep this video to a decent length, basically. So I'll switch back to the eraser tool and back to the brush tool. So E and B for eraser and brush. And I'm just trying to get it to be not crappy as much as possible. Give her arm a bit of a lift there. I'll have to go back and fix that after. All right.